Well, hello.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good.
Welcome to myOrganized.life live for Tuesday, February 27th. Do you know what today is? Other
Yes.
than Tuesday, February 27th?
It is the second day of filing week.
It is, but it's also a special. It's my wife's birthday
Oh,
today.
happy
Shout
birthday,
out.
Christy.
Christy, how you doing? She might, probably not watching, but maybe she'll be watching. I'll definitely have her watch the replay now that we wished her happy
Yes,
birthday.
of course.
So this is the show where we give you organizing tips, advice, and more importantly, feedback from you. Comments, questions. In fact, we'd love to hear where you are watching from today. Go ahead and put that right now in the comments. Also share this out to people. Let them know,
Right.
hey,
Watch them.
myOrganized.life is live right now. Whew, come on, it's Tuesday,
It's
February
exciting.
27th. This
What
is
else are you
stuff.
going to do on a
And
Tuesday
it's
afternoon?
filing week,
That's
no
right.
less. I mean, come on, it doesn't get any better than this.
No, I'm
right?
excited about it. So
I
excited.
am excited too. So
'Cause yesterday we started with Tammy.
Yeah, Tammy Schatzko took us through some of the basics of a filing system.
Yep.
And we actually went back to a podcast with her and talked about, we started getting set up a little bit.
Very
talked
basic.
about rules of thumb kind of,
Yep.
but very basic, which is where we have to start. A lot of people get overwhelmed and never want to start
Yep.
because they don't feel like they can get it done. So
Yeah.
we're going to kind of take it to the next level.
Next
we're going from a basic filing system to
An effective filing
effective
system.
filing system. Okay. And last Thursday when we did our solution day, we kind of talked about desktop organizing. Today we're going to talk about file drawer.
Yeah.
Organizing.
Or it could be on the desk, but it mainly deals with
Right.
hanging. So if
Yeah.
you have a system that hangs on your desktop,
Yeah.
it could be a box that holds
You're
hanging
asking me
folders.
if I happen to have a system? What do you know? I just
I think
so
you do.
happen to have one sitting
Oh
here.
my gosh, what
Look
are the
at that.
odds? What are
Isn't
the
that-
odds?
Now, just imagine this is a drawer, although this could sit on.
That could sit on your desk if you have a really big desk.
This is a hanging file. Now, if you don't know what a hanging file is, that's okay, because on Thursday of this week, we are going to reveal to you all the different
Well,
kinds.
I don't know if we can get into all of them, but
Well, there's a lot.
there's
Well, at least the
a
major
handful
categories,
of the
right?
major. Yes.
Okay,
A handful.
so-
We don't want to promise everything.
I know, but
We
a
don't
lot
have
of
anything
people
else to
haven't
talk
heard-
about.
We throw around these filing terms, these buzzwords, and some people might not know what a box bottom file
Right.
is, right?
And we'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
We'll show you what it is. So, all right. So, let's start. Let's start back to how do we get going on an effective filing?
Well, this goes off an article on our website.
Yep, Smead.com. You can just actually go to Smead.com and type in effective filing system in the search. It'll pull up not only this article, but
There's
probably the podcast
Right.
too. We did with Louise Kurzika.
Yep.
I think it was 2 summers ago, where we actually go through a lot of the step by step of putting this together. So that's a great one. When we did a section both on home office and maybe an office in a traditional office setting.
Right.
So check that out. Okay,
So the steps or setup
Right.
is first creating categories.
yes, okay. Categorization is one of
Is
those
key.
things that we talk about across a lot of organizing
Right.
shows, a lot of talking with the professional organizers, because you always hear the like goes with the like
Yep.
kind of
Yep.
terminology. So what do we need to think about when it comes to categories?
Well, first you start broad.
Okay,
So we don't want to get into the nitty-gritty detail yet. You start with finances
okay,
and maybe house.
right. And you can, like, if let's say you've gone and pulled all your papers out and put them in piles.
Yeah, start sorting first,
Yeah,
and then,
I
then kind of see what
I
you've
think
got.
it's like 4 to 7 broad categories. If you can kind of combine things together.
Yeah, if you
may
get too many, then
Yeah.
you're kind of back to square one. It's
Right.
You don't know where to go next.
And if you got a really big pile, that's okay, because we're going to take and subcategorize that, right?
Yes.
Is that
Yep.
next?
That's next. That's
oh,
next.
Hey,
So that's
amazing. I read your mind on that.
so that is when you start getting into detail. So
Okay.
if you have one category for finances,
Okay.
inside that hanging folder of finances, you would have individual file folders labeled maybe savings account, credit card, student loans, all things associated with your finances.
Yeah. And maybe if you have a lot of credit cards, then you might have credit card, Visa, credit card,
Yep.
MasterCard.
Right, and
So
we'll get into
we'll get
labeling
into
that
labeling that too.
in a little bit
We're
here.
going to teach you it all, so stick around.
Yep.
Don't jump off and play Candy Crush. All right, this is important stuff here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then it's color coding.
Color coding.
So-
Okay.
A lot of times they say, pick a color that's going to register with you. So
Yeah.
finances would mainly, probably be green a lot of the times. And in
yeah.
our case, I don't think it is. We have some
No,
just,
green is Charles Adam. That's
Oh,
probably
I don't know who that
personnel
is.
folder.
Okay.
But here we have some red folders,
Okay, well,
and
someone
in this
decided
one we
to use
have
red.
accounting
Okay.
codes, budget, car titles, all things that can maybe be related to finances. It really doesn't matter what color represent what,
Right.
unless you are the one who picks it and you know it.
Yeah, it's kind of getting your brain trained. So if you think that your finances should go in red,
Yeah.
that's fine. Then you'll just know next time, okay, instead of searching in all these different colors, oh, I'm just going to go to the red section and pull out my Visa statement.
Right. Well, and a picture is worth 1,000 words, so color is kind of like a picture. So we can see the red folders here, we can see the green folders. When you get them in a drawer and you're looking down, your eye can immediately move to the section or category that you're looking
Right.
for.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Great.
So that's kind of the color coding. It's
Right.
pretty simple. I mean, and we are using hanging or just
Yeah,
standard hanging
actually,
folders.
we
There's
have two
also
different versions
right.
of color
Yep.
coding here. We've got colored folders. Now we are using the Viewables labels on here, which have a little color bar that kind of matches the color. When you use our Viewables online label creator at viewables.com, you can kind of pick whatever color you want, how you want it to lay out. So we have
Sometimes
red.
you can even add little icons too if you
can
want.
add little pictures too.
Yep.
And actually, some people use that as their coding.
Right.
They use icons
Yep.
based on, maybe it's sports or in this case, so we have, red, green, yellow, blue font. But on here, all the folders are gray, but we're using our Viewables 3D tabs here.
Right.
I'll pull it up here a little bit.
So it's just the tops and the fronts
Yeah.
are the colors, so
And
you can
what's-
easily see them.
And what's kind of interesting about this is on these fast tab, our folders that have the built-in tab, you can see it on the front and the back. So if you have this on your desk, you could see it from here or over here.
Yep.
In a drawer situation, our Viewables 3D labels work out really good because you can see it from the front, from the top, and also the back. So say instead of having to bend down, look at all the tabs on your folders, you can see them right from the top.
Yep.
And just another little subtle difference in filing here. These are third cut folders. So you have 1, 2, 3. You can see 3 tabs at one time. Here we're doing something called straight line filing. We have an article on this on smead.com as well, but all the tabs are lined up in one direction, but they're color coded and they use the index character, so it makes for a nice, beautiful system there.
Right, and then you can tell easily if one is out of place. If it's the wrong color, you know that it's not.
Yeah, very easy for refiling.
Yep, right.
Okay, so we're talking about labeling yet? Because we've been talking
Well,
about
yeah,
Viewables.
this is kind of running right into
Okay.
this color coding and then labeling. So once you have everything color coded,
Yep.
then it's time to label. And again, going back to labeling things that make sense. So if it's going to go in your finance folder,
Yeah.
don't put Wells Fargo on the tab. Put bank or
Bank dash Wells
bank
Fargo.
dash Wells
yeah,
Fargo
So think
or-
about it as category dash
Right.
subcategory.
otherwise, if you go to alphabetize, you'll have a D and then a
All
W, and then
over, yeah.
you're
You know,
going
financial
everywhere.
stuff with your sporting stuff.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
So basically, keep everything bunched, and then put them all in alphabetical order, and that's kind of your labeling.
Yep. And then anything else on we've got it labeled, we've got it put in the drawer. We just anything else, or are we kind of done?
I think that's kind of it. Just and then make sure to keep up your system.
Yeah.
People kind of have this theory that if you do the third cut
Yeah.
folders, it screws up your alphabetizing. So because if you need to add a folder,
Oh, I need a right hand one.
then
or
it's like,
two.
oh no.
Oh,
So
yeah.
then if you're going to do that, you have to really be mindful of
Right.
what you're filing.
Yep.
If you're doing the straight line filing, you might be able to fudge a little bit
Right.
and just put it back.
Yeah, and the straight line filing too really again helps with refiling.
Right.
Quite well.
Yep.
Okay, well now we're talking about filing. I'm going to take this and I'm going to go file it in my drawer, and we'll be all set. So this week on myOrganized.life live. By the way, right now, if you have any questions or comments, you want to go ahead and put them on. We'll check them here before the end of the show. Or if you're watching this on the replay, we come back to this page and we'll answer any questions you might have on filing. So
We should add. We didn't talk about the box bottom folders, which
Yeah.
you mentioned at the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
When the hanging folder in your system has usually more than 2 file folders in it, it starts to get kind of
yeah, it starts to
starts to bow out a little bit.
Right.
There's box bottom hanging folders
Okay.
that solve that problem, that are about 2 inches flat on the bottom.
Yep.
So when you put in the file folders, it stands upright. So
Yeah.
that's another solution.
Probably also too, as you see a folder, if it gets too thick and starts bulging, then you know it's time to subcategorize. So
Or
maybe you have,
purge some stuff.
Yeah, maybe you have the Wells Fargo, but you have a checking and a savings,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden you may need to have a separate folder for each of those if you
Right.
get too much stuff. So
Yeah.
a good key to subcategorization. All right, so let's tell people about tomorrow. It's Wednesday.
Tomorrow.
What happens on Wednesday?
Wednesdays, let's see, we release our podcast.
All right.
And tomorrow we have Julie Ulmer.
Oh, and Julie is going to talk about how to organize when you...
It's kind of addressing the anxiety people
Yeah,
get. So
right.
if you have this big stack of
Right.
papers that you can't get to because you're so
Right.
anxious and nervous, Julie tells us how to.
Yeah, tips to overcome the
yep.
anxiety. It's a really good podcast, and we'll release that 2 p.m. Central Time on Wednesday. That's when we're doing our podcast live. Of course, after that, you can always get it on iTunes or the Smead.com, or you can go to Smead.com/podcast. But we debut it right here on Facebook every Wednesday, 2 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Eastern, and noon Pacific Time. And so that's Wednesday. How about Thursday? That's that...
Thursday is the solution day.
Yeah, with the different kinds of
folders. Yep.
You will be surprised how many different kinds of folders there are, and some work much better for certain situations than others. So we'll kind of talk about the differences of those.
Yeah.
And then Friday, our blogger roundup is becoming a popular segment.
Yes, I think that is one of our most
we're
popular.
doing the work for people where instead of you having to run around and read 100 different blogs on organizing, we go out and we find some of the best articles on organization
Right,
and share them
and we
with
talk
you on
about
our
them.
Friday show. So filing week.
Yeah.
It's kind of big and it's fun and exciting, and we will be back tomorrow.
Tomorrow at 2 o'clock Central.
2 p.m. right here on Facebook Live, myOrganized.life live.